Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have the unfortunate news that character actor Ned Beatty has passed away at the age of 83. Um, Now, Ned Beatty is one of those actors where you say his name and a lot of people will kind of go like, "Huh," like it sounds familiar, and then you show them what he actually looks like, and it's kind of like, "Okay, I've seen that guy in this and this and this." He was a very prolific character actor. He never really carried the full lead of a movie. He was always kind of a supporting guy, but he could play a lot of different roles, and that was the best thing about him is that he was very versatile in what he could do. And I'm going to talk about a few, well, probably more than a couple, probably like two or three of his roles that really kind of shine out as the epitome of his range as an actor. Um, and you're going to start out with actually his first major film, which was I believe Deliverance was Oscar nominated. I don't remember if it won any, but his first film was Deliverance, and a lot of people. I've done it too. A lot of people poke fun at that movie because of the hillbilly rape, but it is a really fucked up part of that movie. Like it's a legitimately fucked up part of that movie, and the way that it's filmed and the way that it's shot and kind of the weird gritty realism of it and the fact that Ned Beatty is being raped by a hillbilly is actually really messed up. And in addition to that, it's like people today are a little bit desensitized to certain things, but back then this was like this probably would have been somewhat shocking to people if they weren't familiar with films like I don't know if it came out actually. It might have come out after that, which would have been the which was I Spit on Your Grave. But now that I actually remember that, that was in '78. I Spit on Your Grave, and this was in '72. So this predates that by a while. And again, this was when you had a lot of very young but very good actors in this film. You also had Burt Reynolds, who was reaching the height of his career, and you had John Voight, who starred opposite him, who also did a very good job with his part. So I mean, there's a lot going on in there where there's good dynamic between all the characters, and Ned Beatty's character is kind of the character we're supposed to feel for. Like he's literally kind of like a babe in the woods in that movie. He's supposed to be, kind of a novice survivalist and stuff like that. He doesn't really know too much about what he's doing, and then this stuff just starts happening and people start getting killed, and it's it's a really brutal movie, and it's a really brutal way to start off because he plays a very serious and very kind of uh, shaken character in that film. But then you move on to some other stuff, like in the late '70s, when he was in Superman as Otis, the henchman to Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. And now that role is a complete opposite of, well, maybe not complete opposite, but definitely very, very different from his role in Deliverance, where he's kind of this subservient second in command, the conniving kind of big dumb looking moron that just kind of runs around and just moves stuff and things like that. He's the classic comic interpretation of a henchman, and he's mainly meant to be comic relief in that movie. Again, very different from Deliverance, but he still pulled it off successfully, and I do really like the old Christopher Reeves movies. They are it's something odd that they were able to make something so good back in the late '70s, but they really did an amazing job with that. From the John Williams score to Richard Donner's directing, Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder as Clark Kent and Lois Lane, respectively. But again, Ned Beatty held down his area of the fort. He did a good job at that. He also would play kind of a similar role, although not evil, in the 1990 Captain America movie, which I don't know if that one should really be put on anybody's filmography, where Captain America just keeps pretending to be motion sick every once in a while and then runs back to his car and leaves Ned Beatty in the dust. That he just uses it so he can steal the car, which is just hilarious. But Ned Beatty played a very similar type of role in that film, so he was good at kind of replicating that. But then you can move on to some other stuff that he did later on. I mean, he guest starred on a bunch of television shows, from Murder She Wrote to Gunsmoke, a bunch of stuff. I remember him from Mark Wahlberg's Shooter, where he was the main bad guy, where he wasn't playing an idiot, where he was actually playing somebody that was supposed to be portrayed as being very smart and cunning. Um, I felt that he did that because I felt that even though he was short in stature in terms of the movie, he did have presence. And whether that's good camera work or Ned Beatty too, that the combination of those two things. But I like the fact that he could also play a serious villain, which again was different from his role in the original Superman. And then you also have his voice acting, which I didn't realize it was actually him who was Lotso in Toy Story 3, which is another one where he's technically playing a villain character, although it's a bit more of a sympathetic villain, which is again a bit different from some of the other roles. There's always some kind of a variation. It's not necessarily that he brings the exact same character in from other movies. Again, he does have the ability to be very versatile when he's doing these roles. Um, but I'm really just kind of highlighting a lot of his acting talent. He was in he had 165 different screen credits between his television appearances and his films, which is a massive, massive number. Like we're approaching like Dick Miller levels of that, which unfortunately Dick Miller is also no longer with us. But I always love Ned Beatty in some of those movies because he does hold down the fort on his end, and you got to commend somebody for that who makes that out of a career. He's a character actor. He's not a George Clooney, and he knew that obviously. He wasn't going to be a George Clooney or anything like that. If he got any starring roles, it would only probably have been in a comedy or maybe something along those lines. Um, but he knew how to play the characters that he played. Not like I said, I really do enjoy his performance in Deliverance. I thought he did a really good job in that film. And I'm not going to bring up the fact that a hillbilly made him say "squeal like a piggy." So we're going to move past that, which because unfortunately that's one of the things that's basically kind of just devolved into meme culture these days, and it's lost its value in relation to that film. But regardless of that, I always kind of enjoyed Ned Beatty as a side actor. Maybe not as much as Dick Miller, but to an extent. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you have any particularly favorite roles that Ned Beatty had in his career? Do you want to check out any of the films that I mentioned here if you haven't seen them? And maybe look out for his character, but also enjoy the film because most of the time they are good films overall. Um, put your thoughts in the comments below. As usual, I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?